So that's how you can define the welded connection. It is actually a joining of two metal pieces by creating a metallurgical bond between them. So that's what the welded connections can be defined. Now let's look at the parts of a welding or the components which are involved in the welding. So this is actually a welding gun. This is called as welding gun. Okay. So inside the welding gun, what you're going to provide is you're going to provide the welding rods. So these are called as welding rods. Okay, they will be available in different diameters. The welded rods can be available in different diameters. So when these welding rods are provided in the welding gun, then you are able to make the welded connections. Okay, but thereby you can create a metallurgical bond between the plates. So that's how the concept which is involved in the welded connections are. Now the next thing is, let's discuss about what are the different types of welded joints that are available for us. So based on various categories, we have different types of welded joints. So the first one is based on type of weld. We have different types of welded joints. The second one is based on position of the weld. And the third one is based on type of joint. So these are the three broad categories of different types of welded joints. So based on type of weld, based on position of weld, and based on type of joint. These are the three broad classifications of welded joints. Now let's look at each one of these individually in a broad way. So the first one is based on type of weld. So based on type of weld, we have different types of welded connections. So the first one is fillet weld, which is also called as lap weld. Okay, this is the first one, that is fillet weld, which is also called as lap weld. The second one is groove weld, which is also called as butt weld. And the third one is plug weld. And the last one, which is the fourth one, is slot weld. So these are the four different types of welds. Okay, so based on type of weld, we have the four categories. One is fillet weld, which is also called as lap weld, groove weld, which is also called as butt weld, and third one is plug weld, and the last one is slot weld. Now, when we are discussing about the bolted connections, we have talked about the lap joint and butt joint. Okay, so the same category is involved in the welded connections also. So here we are calling, instead of lap bolted connections, we are calling it as lap welding connection. Instead of butt bolted connections, we're going to call it as butt welding connection. So the lap weld is also called as a fillet weld, and the butt weld is also called as groove weld. So in your questions or in your examination point of view, the question may be asked either in the form of design a fillet weld or design a lap weld. They both represent the same. And also, if they ask you to find out the design a groove weld or design a butt weld, they both represent the same. Okay. Now let's look at each one of these four categories in a broad way. So the first one is fillet weld, which is also called as lap weld. Now what exactly happens here? See, it is provided between two members which are jointed plates where they are in different plane. Okay, so you know lap weld. Lap weld means you have, or lap joint is nothing but you have two different plates, and these two different plates are overlapped one over the other, and hence you are going to create a lap joint. Okay, similarly in lap weld or in fillet weld, you need to have two plates or two members, and these two members are to be jointed in a different plane. So what is this different plane indicates? See, here you can see the two plates. You have the plate one, which is the vertical one, and you also have the plate two, which is the horizontal one. And these two plates are overlapped here. See, this distance is the overlapping distance. Okay. So these two plates are overlapped here in such a way that they are in different planes. So here it is in x-axis and the plate 2 is in y-axis. So that is what the different plane is. So fillet weld or lap weld is provided when you have the two members which are in a different plane. So that is what the fillet weld or lap weld indicates. So let's not talk about the leg thickness, throat thickness, all these things. I will discuss that once we proceed to the next slides. But for time being, let's talk about fillet weld is provided when you have two different members which are to be jointed in a different plane. And this type of weld is actually used when the members connected are overlapping with each other. As I said earlier, here the overlapping of both the plates is happening. So this kind of weld is used when you have the members which are getting overlapped with each other. The third criteria is it is easier to make. The fillet weld or lap weld is very easy to make. You don't need heavy efforts in order to make the fillet weld or lap weld. And also it requires very less material preparation. Okay, what does it mean, the less material preparation? Material preparation is nothing but you have to make them into a particular shape, that is the texture. You have to take care of the texture of the main plates, that is plate 1 and plate 2, and you also have to see any dust particles that are arranged on the or that are there on the plates. So it requires very less material preparation. And the most important thing in fillet weld is in highly stressed structures where stiffness rather than strength. Okay, so in highly stressed structures where stiffness is the main criteria and strength is not the major criteria, where stiffness is only the major criteria instead of strength, and where it controls the design and fatigue or brittle fracture is not a problem, then fillet welds are sufficient to use and they are also economical. So what does this point says is where the structures are having very lightly stressed. Okay, in a structure where you find less amount of stresses, in these materials where you find the stiffness is one of the major criteria, not the strength. So here we are not going to consider about the strength, we are going to consider about the stiffness. So where stiffness is the major criteria and the fatigue or brittle fracture is not a major problem, then fillet welds are to be used, and they are also economical in such cases. And remember here, the fillet weld or the lap weld or the shape of these fillet weld and lap weld is always in triangular shape or triangular cross section. As you can see here, the plate 1 and plate 2 are jointed by the fillet weld. The red one is the fillet welds or welded connection. So you can observe these two plates, that is the plate 1 and plate 2 are connected by a fillet weld, and the shape of the fillet weld is usually in triangular cross section. It is not exactly the triangular shape, but more or less it is in the triangular shape or the triangular cross section. So this is about the fillet weld or lap weld. And here the fillet weld always fails in shear. How? Suppose, say for example, in the plate 2 you are applying a tensile force, and in the plate 1 also you are applying the tensile force. When you are applying the tensile force, what happens to the welded material or the fillet weld? What happens to this weld is it gets sheared with plate 2 and plate 1. So that's how the shear failure happens in the fillet weld. When you apply the tensile force for the plate 1 and when you apply the tensile force for the plate 2, and when these tensile forces are pulled together, then what happens is the weld will get fail in shear criteria or in shear mode. Okay. Now let's look at the different types of fillet welds. We have different types of fillet welds. The first one is the meter fillet weld, and the second one is concave fillet weld, and the third one is convex fillet weld. Okay, these are the three major types of fillet welds. First one is meter fillet weld, the second one is concave fillet weld, and the last one is convex fillet weld. Now, on what basis you are going to call these fillet welds as meter fillet weld, concave and convex fillet weld? So for understanding purpose, I am showing you one more diagram where you have a plate, the base plate or the horizontal plate, and you have the vertical plate, and you need to connect this horizontal plate with the vertical plate. That means you're simply going to make a T-shaped joint. So this is inverted T actually. Okay, so you're going to make a T-shaped joint. So when you are making the T-shaped joint, obviously you have to weld the materials or weld the plates wherever you are finding the joints. So at the places where you are finding the joint between the two plates, only at those places you are allowed to weld. Okay, remember, wherever you are finding the joint between the two different plates, at that joint only you have to create the weld or you have to provide the weld. And this weld can be provided in three different types. So the first one is meter fillet weld. So what does it meter fillet weld indicates? Meter fillet weld indicates that exactly in the triangular portion, if you are making the weld, then it is called as meter fillet weld. See, exactly in the triangular shape. So you find the shape of the fillet weld in an exact triangular, and the surface of the fillet weld is completely flat. You don't find any disturbances in the top surface of the weld material. Okay, so when the surface of the weld material is completely flat, or it's just a flat member, then it is called as a meter fillet weld. So in meter fillet weld, you will find the surface of the weld material in a flat position. Whereas in the concave fillet weld, what happens is you are going to make the fillet in the weld in the form of cave. So the member will just get bent, or the fillet material will just get bent. Okay, and hence it is called as a concave fillet weld. Whereas a third type of fillet weld is the convex fillet weld. So in convex fillet weld, you will observe a bulk portion on the top surface. Whereas in the concave fillet weld, you don't observe the bulk portion. Instead, what you're going to observe is you're going to observe a cave portion. Okay, so that's what the difference is between the concave, convex, and meter fillet weld. And these are the three different types of fillet welds. Now you might have a question that where shall we use which type of material? It depends on the material property, and it depends on the safety of the joint, and also it depends on the efficiency of the member. So based on these categories, you are going to provide the different types of fillet welds. Okay, there is no strict rule that always you should use the only meter fillet weld, or always you should use the concave fillet weld, or always you should use the convex fillet weld. It depends on the various properties in deciding factors. Okay, so it all depends on the three types of fillet weld provisions depends on the various categories. So that's about the different types of fillet welds. Now, based on angle formed at cross section, we have different types of fillet welds. So the first one is the standard fillet weld. So based on angle, we have the standard fillet weld. So in standard fillet weld, what happens is if the cross section of the weld is making an isosceles triangle, remember, if the cross section of the weld is making an isosceles triangle at the joint, then it is called as a standard fillet weld. So I'll show you the figure. So your fillet weld is nothing but lap weld. Fillet weld is also called as lap weld. So I have two plates, with the plate 1 on the top and the plate 2 at the bottom. And these two plates are connected by using the welded connection. So this entire, the blue colored substance which you are seeing is the weld material, or the place where you are going to weld. Okay. So in this portion, if you find the cross section of the weld in the shape of an isosceles triangle, see, I have shown you here in the form of a dotted line. So this entire thing forms a isosceles triangle. Technically, you don't find this kind of standard fillet weld. That means you don't find exactly an isosceles triangle fillet weld at the joint. But if you find, okay, the standard fillet weld is a weld if the cross section of the weld is making an isosceles triangle at the joint, then you can say it as a standard fillet weld. And this is one of the most commonly used weld types. Okay, the second type of weld is the special fillet weld. Now what happens in the special fillet weld is if the cross section of the weld is making in such a way with an angle of 30 to 60 degrees, or 30 and 60 degrees, not 30 to 60 degrees, it is 30 and 60 degrees. So if the cross section of the weld is making an angle of 30 and 60 degrees, then you can say it as a special fillet weld. See, here you can observe the angle. See, when the angle is forming from the top end to the bottom end, then it is called as a standard fillet weld. So in standard fillet weld, you can observe the angle. The angle is starting from the corner portion or the edge of the second plate to the another plate. So this is called the standard fillet weld, where you find an isosceles triangle. Whereas in the special fillet weld, the angle is not 90 degrees as provided in the standard fillet weld. Instead, the angle can be 30 degrees and also can be 60 degrees. So when you find the angle of cross section which is making 30 and 60 degrees, then you can call such type of weld as a special fillet weld. Now the third category is based on depth of penetration. Okay, so based on depth of penetration, we have normal fillet weld, which is a fillet weld whose depth of penetration is less than 2.4 mm. What is this? So what exactly the depth of penetration category is? You have two plates. Okay, so you have two plates, and these two plates are overlapped. So I'll show the figure. So you have a plate and you have another plate where you are going to make the fillet weld. What does normal fillet weld indicates is a fillet weld whose depth of penetration. That means if you are providing weld here, okay, if you are providing weld here, if this depth starting from here, if this depth is less than 2.4 mm, okay, so if this depth is less than 2.4 mm, then it is called as a standard fillet weld. That is what the depth of penetration. Depth of penetration is nothing but the total depth of the weld is called as depth of penetration. Okay, so now you can provide the fillet weld either at the top or also at the bottom. Okay, so the total depth of penetration, if it is less than 2.4 mm, then it is called as a normal fillet weld. So this is the criteria of normal fillet weld. This yeah, the second type of fillet weld based on depth of penetration is the deep fillet weld. What does this deep fillet weld indicates is if a fillet weld whose depth of penetration is greater than or equals to 2.4 mm. Okay, so whose depth of penetration is greater than or equals to 2.4 mm, then it is called as a deep fillet weld. So here you can see. So the deep fillet weld whose depth of penetration, this depth, whose depth of penetration is greater than 2.4 mm, then it is called as a deep fillet weld. So this is the classification of fillet weld based on depth of penetration. One you have the normal fillet weld and the second one is deep fillet weld. So in normal fillet weld, the depth of penetration is less than 2.4 mm, and in deep fillet weld, the depth of penetration is greater than or equals to 2.4 mm. So this is the classification. The next classification is based on direction of stress. Okay, based on the stress or based on the load with which you are applying. So we have different categories, or we have three different categories. So now you have two different plates. Consider this as plate 1, okay, and this as plate 2. And these two plates are overlapped with each other. Okay, you can see that both the plates are getting overlapped with each other. And you can also find a load P which is applying on either sides of the plate. Okay, so the load P is applying on either sides of the plate. Now, based on the direction of the stress which is applied, or based on the direction of load which is applied, we have three different types of fillet welds. The first one is the side or longitudinal fillet weld. What does this mean? Side or longitudinal fillet weld is a weld which is provided parallel to the direction of load applied. Okay, so side or longitudinal fillet weld is a weld which is applied parallel to the direction of load that is applied. So where will you apply the load? See, here you are applying the load in x-axis. So if you measure the terms, that is x and y-axis, so x-axis is along horizontal direction. That is, this is the direction of load that is being applied. Now where you are going to provide the side or longitudinal fillet weld is, you can see here. Okay, so this is what the side and longitudinal fillet weld based on the direction of load that is applied. So a side or longitudinal fillet weld is a weld which is applied parallel to the direction of application of load. So when you apply the weld parallel to the direction of load that is applied, then it is called as a side or longitudinal fillet weld. And this longitudinal fillet weld or side fillet weld will produce longitudinal shear. So it is responsible for the formation of longitudinal shear in the joint. So this is the first classification. The second classification is end or transverse fillet weld. So the end or transverse fillet weld is a weld which is provided perpendicular to the direction of weld, perpendicular to the direction of load that is applied. See here you are applying the load in the x-axis. So what does this transverse or end fillet weld says is, if you apply the fillet weld perpendicular to this load that is applied, then you are going to call such kind of weld as end or transverse fillet weld. So in this connection, the end or transverse fillet weld is provided here, the green one which you are observing. Okay, this one. So this weld is applying, the load is applying along this direction, and the weld is applied along the vertical direction, that is the perpendicular direction to the load. Okay, so this is what the second classification. Now in end or transverse fillet weld, it produces the transverse shear. So the end or transverse fillet weld will produces the transverse shear. So this is the second classification. Now the third classification of fillet weld is diagonal fillet weld. So diagonal fillet weld is a weld which is provided with an angle to the direction of application of load. So the diagonal fillet weld is the blue one which you are seeing on the screen. So this is the diagonal fillet weld. Okay, so this is how the three different classifications of fillet welds are based on the direction of stress. Side fillet weld, side fillet weld is also called as longitudinal fillet weld, which is provided parallel to the direction of application of load. So you can see the load is applied in this direction and the weld is also provided in this direction, that is along x-axis. Okay, whereas the end or transverse fillet weld is provided perpendicular to the direction of fillet weld, or perpendicular to the direction of load that is applied. Whereas the diagonal fillet weld is provided with an inclination to the load that is applied. With some inclination. Let's not talk about what is that inclination, how much inclination we are going to provide. Okay. So these are the three different classifications of fillet weld based on the direction of stress. The next thing is the terminology which is involved in the welded connections. So we have different terminologies in the welded connections. So as we have seen in the bolted connections, we have 5 different types of terminologies. That is the pitch distance, the edge distance, the gauge distance, end distance, and the staggered distance. Similarly, here also we have different terminologies in the welded connections. So before we discuss the terminologies in the welded connections, let us consider there are 2 different plates where you are going to provide the lap weld. Okay, you have 2 plates, the plate 1 and plate 2. So you can consider this as the plate 1 and you can consider this as the plate 2. Now here you have 2 plates which are overlapped with each other. Now here where exactly you are going to provide weld connection is, you are going to provide the weld between the joints of the plate 1 and plate 2. So that is what this is. Okay, so in between the plate 1 and plate 2, where exactly these two are getting connected, at this connection you are going to provide the welded, or you are going to give the weld. Okay, the orange color substance which you are seeing is the weld material. Now here the different terminologies which are involved in the welded connections are, we have 4 types of terminology, or 3 types of terminologies. The first one is the throat thickness, which is denoted with the symbol TT. So the throat thickness is called as T suffix T. So remember, the throat thickness is defined with the symbol TT. So what is this throat thickness? Throat thickness is the thickness which is measured from the corner of the joint to the center of the triangle. Okay, so this distance is called as throat thickness. So the TT is measured from the corner of the joint to the center of the triangular portion. Okay, that is what the throat thickness is. The second terminology here is leg size or leg length. Leg size or leg length is determined as from the extreme edge of the weld to the extreme edge of the another side of the weld. This is called as leg size. Okay, so the leg size or leg length is denoted with the symbol L. LL or LS. They both are same. So that is what the leg size and leg length are. Okay, so this is what the second terminology involved in the welded connections. Or the third terminology is the root. What is this root is? Root is the one which is available at the joint of the two plates. So you have plates like this. Okay, you have two plates. So root is the one which is available at the joint of these two plates. So that is called as root, as you can see on the purple screen, the purple dot. That is called as root. And the last one is toe. So toes are the one which you are finding at the extreme end of the welds. So these are the two extreme ends of the welds. That means at toe, I mean beyond toe, you don't find any weld material. So toe is the place where the weld is going to get end. So you have two toes. So one at the bottom and one at the top. So this is at the top and this is at the bottom. So these are the three terminologies which are available, four terminologies which are available in the welded connections. Toe thickness, which is measured from the joint of the two members to the center of the triangle. Okay, so that is defined with the symbol TT, which is called as throat thickness. And the leg size or leg length is the length which is measured from the corner of the joint to the extreme edge of the weld. See, you can see the corner of the joint to the extreme edge of the weld. That is called as leg length, which is denoted with the symbol LL or LS. And the root is the one which is observed at the corner of a two different plate joints. That is called as root. And toe is the one where you can find the weld material will be stopped at that place. That is called as toe. You have two toes. One is the top toe and the bottom toe for any kinds of welds. So these are the terminologies which are involved in the welded connections. Okay. Now let's look at what are the specifications that are involved in the fillet welds. Okay, these specifications are available in the IS 800-2007 code book. I have provided you the clauses as well. Okay, the clause numbers as well. You can refer the clause numbers and you can make a note of the specifications also. Okay, so now let's look at the specifications for fillet welds. So in the case of lap joints, we know fillet weld is nothing but you're going to join the plates in a lap joint, or you're going to overlap these plates. So in the case of lap joints, the minimum lap should not be less than 4 times the thickness of the thinner part joint, or 40 mm, whichever is more. What does it says? See, here you have a lap joint. Consider you have a lap joint. Sorry. You have one plate here. You have one plate here and you have another plate here, or instead you can also try in this way. So you have one plate here and you have the another plate here. Okay, so what does this says is you have lap joint. The minimum lap or the minimum lap length should not be less than 4 times the thickness of the thinner part. That means, say for example, you have first plate which is having thickness of 10 mm and the second plate which is having thickness of 6 mm. You have two different thicknesses of main plates. The lap length or the minimum lap. So the lap length is nothing but up to the point where the two plates are getting overlapped. This length is called as lap length. So this length is called as lap length. Lap length is a length where the two plates are getting overlapped. The distance up to which the two plates are getting overlapped is called as lap length. So the distance up to which the two plates are getting overlapped is called as lap length. Now what is the condition for this lap length is it should not be less than 4 times the thickness of the thinner plate. So here in this case, the lap length should not be less than 4 times the thickness of the thinner part joined. Thinner part is nothing but thinner member, that is 6 mm, that is 4.6. So this, for this connection, which is having a plate thickness of 10 mm and 6 mm, the lap length should not be less than 24 mm. That means the lap length must be greater than 24 mm. That is what it says, the lap length, or 40 mm. So in these two, whichever is more, you're going to adopt that as the minimum lap length. So for this kind of connection, you're going to adopt the value as 40 mm as the minimum lap length. So here it is clearly said 4 times the thickness of the thinner part and 40 mm. And in these two, whichever is more, that you are going to consider as the lap length. So that's how you can find out the lap length of a given connection. Okay, so this is the first specification in the fillet welds. Okay, I'm just erasing it, all the things. So please try to make a note while drawing the things parallelly. Okay, this is the first one. The second specification here is the size of weld. So the size of weld is denoted with the symbol capital S. Okay, so if you refer clause 10.5.2 in IS 800/2007, you will get the details of the size of the fillet weld. So remember, whatever the specifications we are talking here, we are talking all about the fillet weld only. We are not talking about any of the types of welds. So the size of the fillet weld is denoted with the symbol capital S, and this is provided in the clause 10.5.2. So what does this say? What is the size? What should be the size of the fillet weld? Usually, the size of normal fillet welds shall be taken as the minimum weld leg size. So what is this leg size? As I shown you in the figure, in the previous thing, leg length is nothing but I am providing the weld here. This is the leg length or leg size. So usually it is taken that the size of normal fillet welds shall be taken as the minimum weld leg size. Okay, so the leg size will be there along x-axis and leg size will be there along the y-axis. This is also called as leg size. So whichever is minimum, that you are going to take it as the size of the fillet weld. Okay, now in a broad way, let's talk about this size of the fillet weld. So what is the second criteria? Technically, for deep penetration of welds, I have shown you an image in the previous slides which talked about the deep welds. Okay, we know deep weld is a weld when you have the size of weld greater than or equals to 2.4 mm. Okay, so for deep penetration welds where penetration is a minimum of 2.4 mm, that means greater than or equals to 2.4 mm, the size of a fillet weld is minimum leg size plus 2.4 mm. Remember, so for deep penetration welds, you have a fillet joint. Okay, you have the plate, 2 plates, and the minimum size of the fillet weld for deep penetration. Okay, for deep penetration, you consider this entire is a fillet weld. For deep penetration, it should be the size of fillet weld, which is denoted with leg size, that is LL. Okay, LL plus 2.4 mm. So this should be the size of the fillet weld for deep penetration. So this is the condition here. So for deep penetration, the size of the fillet weld is taken as leg length plus 2.4 mm. So that is the second second specification in the specifications of the fillet welds. Just hold on a minute. Yeah. Now, the third one is minimum size of fillet weld shall not be less than 3 mm. This is the condition which you have to remember. So if you don't remember the top one and the bottom one, that's fine. But the minimum size of fillet weld, that is S, shall not be less than 3 mm. Or you can also write this way. The size of the weld must be greater than 3 mm or greater than or equals to 3 mm. So the minimum size of the fillet weld must not be less than 3 mm, or it should be greater than or equals to 3 mm. This is the minimum size of fillet weld. Now, this minimum size depends on the various factors. Let's show you a table. So this is the table 1, which is provided in the IS 800-2007. You can refer this table. So you can make a note of this table. This table talks about what should be the minimum size of weld. Okay, the minimum size of weld is dependent on the thickness of the thicker part. So you can check here the thickness of the thicker part. Suppose, say for example, you have 2 plates. Okay, the first plate is having a thickness of, say for example, 15 mm, and the second plate is having a thickness of 10 mm. Right? So based on the thickness of the plates, you need to provide the minimum size of the weld. As suppose if the thickness of the thicker plate part is nothing but plate, if the thickness of the thicker plate is in between 0 to 10 mm, okay, if the thickness of the thicker part is in between 0 to 10 mm, then the minimum size of the weld is to be 3 mm. Okay, or the second criteria is if the thickness of the thicker part is in between 10 to 20 mm, then the minimum size to be 5 mm. Okay, the minimum size of weld has to be provided as 5 mm. And if the thickness of the thicker part is in between 20 and 32 mm, then you have to provide the minimum size as 6 mm. And the last criteria is if the thickness of the thicker part is in between 32 to 50 mm, then you have to provide 8 mm for the first run and 10 mm for minimum size of weld. So these are the conditions which are based on thickness of the thicker part or thicker plate. Now, for this example, the example which I have shown here, for this example, which has a thickness of 15 mm as one thickness and 10 mm as the another thickness of the plate, for this kind of connection, the minimum size of the weld to be provided is thickness of the thicker part. So the thickness of the thicker part is 15 mm. So in 10 mm and 15 mm, the higher thickness is 15 mm. So the thickness of the thicker part is 15 mm. So 15 mm lies in between 10 and 20. So therefore, the minimum size provided for this type is 5 mm. Okay. So that's how you can identify the minimum size of the fillet weld based on the thickness of the plates. Okay, so this is another classification, but a minimum size, the least size which you can provide is should not be less than 3 mm. So the least size which you can provide is 3 mm. So then 5, 6 and 8 mm depends on the thickness of the thicker plates. Okay, you will get an idea once when you are solving the problems as well. Now the other criteria is the maximum size of fillet weld is taken as T minus 1.5. Remember, the maximum size of the fillet weld is taken as T minus 1.5. What is this T? Is thickness of the thinner member. Remember, here it is thickness of the thinner member or thinner plate, but minimum size is classified based on the thicker member. So don't confuse between these two. The minimum size depends on the thickness of the thicker plate, whereas the maximum size depends on the thickness of the thinner plate. So the formula is T minus 1.5 mm. That means suppose you have a plate, okay, which is having 10 mm thickness and another plate which is having 6 mm thickness. So the maximum size, that is S max, or the maximum size of the fillet weld is taken as T minus 1.5. Okay, T minus 1.5. What is T here is, T is the thickness of the thinner member. That is, the thickness of the thinner member is 6 mm. So 6 minus 1.5. So the maximum thickness for this kind of connection is 4.5 mm. That's how you can find out the minimum size and the maximum size of a fillet weld. Now you have one more criteria, which is in case of welds, okay, in case of welds applied at the rounded toe of member. In case of welds applied at the rounded toe of member, the maximum size shall not exceed 3/4 of thickness of the section at toe. What is this says is, in case of welds applied at the rounded toe. So you can identify the special criteria here, which is a rounded toe. Now, what is this rounded toe? Okay, so I'll show you a figure. See here, you can see generally we can see plates in this way. That means exactly straight line. Okay, the coordinates are exactly at 90 degrees. Okay, so if the coordinates are not 90 degrees, that is, if the coordinates are at rounded, you can see here, they are just rounded. They are not exactly perpendicular, or they are not 90 degrees. So they're just rounded. So at rounded toe, so if you find the welds which are to be made at a rounded toe, then the maximum size, okay, that is S max, the maximum size of fillet weld shall not exceed or shall not be greater than 3/4 of thickness at toe. So this thickness, so as you can see here, 3/4 of thickness at toe. Okay, so this is how you can find out for the rounded toe of an angle section. So for rounded toe of an angle section, the maximum size of fillet weld is taken as it should not be greater than 3/4 of thickness of the section at toe. Okay, that's how you can find out the sizes of fillet welds for various criteria. But the most important criteria which you have to remember is the minimum size to be 3 mm and the maximum size to be T minus 1.5 mm. And you can see the table or 21 in IS 800/2007, which gives the details of what size to be adopted based on the thickness of the thicker plate. Okay, so this rounded toe problems also we have when we are discussing that problems, then we'll find out the maximum size based on rounded toe, that is 3/4 of thickness of the section at toe. So this is regarding the size of the fillet welds. So this is the first specification. The second specification is throat thickness or effective throat thickness, which is denoted with the symbol T suffix T or TT. So the details regarding the effective throat thickness is provided in clause 10.5.3 of IS 800/2007. So if you refer clause 10.5.3, it gives the details of throat thickness. So what is this throat thickness? As I said earlier, throat thickness is a thickness which is measured from the corner of the joint to the center of the triangle. This distance is called as throat thickness. Okay, that's, we have seen the throat thickness earlier as well. Okay, now what should be this throat thickness, or how much amount you should provide throat thickness for fillet welds? So the condition is it shall not be less than 3 mm and shall not generally exceed 0.7 times of 3. So what the condition says is the throat thickness shall not be less than 3 mm and also shall not exceed 0.7 times of T, where T is the thickness of the thinner plate. Remember, where T is the thickness of the thinner plate. So that is one of the specifications for effective throat thickness. So it shall not be less than 3 mm and it shall not be greater than 0.7 times of T. Okay. Now, let's look at the second specification of effective throat thickness, which is given as the effective throat thickness is taken as K times of size of weld. We know the size of weld is denoted with the symbol capital S, or the effective throat thickness, that is TT. This is first classification. The second specification is TT equals to K times of S, where S is the size of weld. What is this K? So this K depends on the angle of the weld. So this is provided in IS 800/2007. So this is the criteria for finding out the value of K. See here, you can see if the angle is between 60 to 90, then the value of K is 0.7. If the angle is in between 91 to 100, the value of K to be 0.65. and in between 101 to 106 it is 0.6, and in between 107 to 113 it is 0.55, and in between 114 to 120 it is 0.5. So based on the angle, the values of K gets differed. But most importantly, the weld angles will be provided in between 60 and 90. Okay, remember, the most of the times we are going to adopt this one only. In between 16 and 90, we are going to provide the weld. So technically, we are going to take the value of K as 0.7 times of S. So if the angle is not specified in the question, then the effective throat thickness, that is TT, is taken as 0.7 times the size of weld. Okay. So this is the classification, this is the specification regarding the effective throat thickness. Now the next specification is effective length, which is called as L effective. So regarding the effective length conditions, you can refer clause 10.5.4.1 and 10.5.4.2 of IS 800/2007, which gives the details of the effective length criteria. So the effective length, what does this criteria says is, the effective length of weld is the length of weld for which specified size and throat thickness. So you know, in RCC, if you want to find out the effective distance and clear distance, or effective length and clear length, suppose you have a beam, okay, and this beam is attached to the columns. So this is column 1 and this is column 2. So the effective length is the length which is measured from the center of the member to the center of the another member. This is called as L effective. Whereas clear distance is the distance which is measured from the inner parts of the section. This is called as a clear length. So similarly, in welded connections also, the effective length of the weld is the length of the weld for which the specified size and throat thickness. So this we'll talk about in a very detailed way while solving the problems, how to calculate the effective length. We have specific conditions for this. Okay. Now, the effective length is generally calculated as length minus 2s. Here it is L. This is L minus 2s, where s is the size of weld. So remember, the effective length is calculated as L minus 2s, where here L is the length of weld provided. Remember, where small l is the length of weld provided. Okay, but technically the actual effective length of fillet weld should not be less than 4 times the size of weld. So the actual effective length, that is L effective, should not be less than 4 times the size of weld. But technically we are going to calculate the effective length by using this formula, that is L minus 2s. Okay, this is one of the criteria of effective length. Now the fourth criteria is effective area. So this is available in the code book IS 800/2007, clause 10.5.4.3. So this clause talks about the effective area which has to be provided by the fillet weld. What does this clause says is, the effective area of fillet weld is taken as the product of effective length and effective throat thickness. So the effective area is taken as L effective times of throat thickness or effective throat thickness. They both represent same. So the effective length and effective throat thickness product will give you the effective area. Okay, this is the specification regarding effective area calculation of fillet weld. Then the last one is the design strength of fillet weld, which is denoted with the symbol capital P suffix DW. Design strength of fillet weld. W represents weld, D represents design, and P represents strength. So that's how the design strength of fillet weld. So this design strength of fillet weld is calculated by using a formula which is LW into TT into FU upon √3 into gamma W, gamma MW. Okay, remember this is the formula to find out the design strength or design stress of fillet weld. Please make a note of this formula. PDW equals to LW into TT into FU by √3 into gamma W, where here LW is also called as L effective. They both are same, which is effective length. LW and L effective, they both represent the same, which is the effective length. And TT, as you know, is the throat thickness. TT is the throat thickness. And Fu is the ultimate stress, which is 410 newtons per mm square. And here gamma MW, okay, so gamma MW is the partial safety factor for weld or for weld connections. You can say it as weld connections. Okay. Now here gamma MW depends on two types of welding process. So technically all the weldings, okay, the weldings can be done in two ways. One is the welding can be done at the shop, okay, or at the factory or at the industry. Anything is same. Okay. So the first criteria is welding which has to be done at the shop or at the factory or at industry. That is the first criteria. The second criteria is welding which has to be done at the site itself. Okay, so based on shop welding and site welding, we have different values of gamma MW. So let's look at this factor. So gamma MW is partial safety factor, and this value is available in table 5 of IS 800/2007. I'll show you the table as well. So before showing, 1.25 is the value of gamma MW for shop welding, and 1.5 is the value of gamma MW for site welding. Remember, 1.25 is for the shop welding and 1.5 is the site welding. Okay, so I'll show you the table 5 as well. This is the table 5 which is available in the IS 800/2007. You can refer the table. So here you can see the shop fabrications and the field fabrications. So the partial safety factor which is shop and which is at field. So here you can see the weld, the fourth one, the fourth criteria, this one. So gamma MW is the weld. So for shop, it is taken as 1.25, and for the site or field, it is taken as 1.5. So this is how you can calculate the design strength of fillet welds. So PDW equals to LW into TT into FU by √3 times of gamma MW. Okay, so I guess it is clear regarding the specifications of fillet welds. Let's look at the other one. So the sixth specification is the lap joint. So the minimum lap should be 4 times the thickness of the thinner part. The minimum lap. So you know the lap length, the length up to which the two plates are overlapped. This is called as lap length. So what does this lap length says? The lap length or the minimum lap length should be 4 times the thickness of the thinner part. Remember, 4 times the thickness of the thinner part, or 40 mm. This I have shown you in the first itself, but however I'm reminding it once again. So the 4 times the thickness of thinner part and 40 mm. And in these two, whichever is higher value, that you are going to adopt as the minimum lap length. So that's how you can find out the minimum lap length of a lap joint or a fillet weld. So these are the 6 specifications as per IS 800/2007 regarding the lap weld or the fillet weld criteria. So the second type of weld connections, this we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. Thank you.